Do you have a negative outlook on life? Are you around 2.8179 times 10 to the power negative 15 meters tall and weigh about 9.11 times 10 to the power of negative 31 kilograms? Do you simultaneously feel as though you are both corporeal and a wave? If so, you'll get right along with the other electrons in HallThrusterton. Here in the town of HallThrusterton, the electrons live perfect lives of fun in the sun. The town is shaped like a decadent donut, with the main street of Discharge Channel Way being a bustling hub of activity glowing under xenon lights. If we just focus on a quarter HallThrusterton and look at it from the side, we can see the daily life of an electron in the town. The electrons start their day from their homes in Cathode Cove. To reach Discharge Channel Way, they then travel up Electric Potential Avenue, pristinely maintained by the City Council that connects Cathode Cove to the sprawling Anode Acres golf course. As electrons need to do minimal work in HallThrusterton, thanks to our resource requirements being met by the external power supply generously provided by our benevolent engineer overlords, the electrons hop in their car and start their daily drive to the greens. While Electric Potential Avenue is relatively flat for most of the drive, near the start of Discharge Channel Way, there's a steep, idyllic countryside hill that most of our residents like to speed up. Unfortunately, our engineer overlords have caught wind of this behavior and have placed officers from the Magnetic Field Police Department along the hill here to impede the progress of our residents towards the anode. However, our residents are nothing if not innovative, so in response to these magnetic field officers, they begin to drift. This drifting behavior turns a buzzkill into a buzzsaw of electrons that collide with bystanding neutral particles, turning them into ions, which then love to speed down the hill. In fact, these ions will go so fast down the hill, they are ejected from the town entirely. Although this might not be something you do in response to seeing police along the highway, it is actually quite effective. The magnetic field officers are too concerned about the well-being of innocent bystanders that the electrons are able to cross the lines the officers set up and make their way toward the course where they spend most of the day. Have you been getting bombarded by ads like these, promising a life that seems a little too good to be true? Are you suspicious that these electrons are up to something that they don't want us to know about? If so, you're not the only one. My name is Declan Brick, and I'm part of an investigative team here at the University of Michigan's Plasma Dynamics and Electron Propulsion Laboratory, who are working on getting to the bottom of exactly what these electrons are up to. If you'll come with me, I can show you some of the recent progress in our investigation. Before getting specific, it's important to remember that HallThrusterton is not a single town, but a style of towns. Each town here represents an individual design of a Hall thruster, which is a spacecraft propulsion technology that has gained notoriety thanks to its efficient operation. So, the scope of our investigation is not to expose a single town, rather to understand how they operate. If we can do that, we can construct computer models of these towns, which ultimately allows us to harness their power to move through space, heralding in a whole bunch of scientific, technological, and economic benefits. As the electrons control all the going-ons in HallThrusterton, for models to be accurate, we need to understand how exactly they move around the town. These models are typically governed by three main equations: continuity, or how many electrons are along the road; momentum, which we can think of as the type of cars the electrons are driving; and energy, represented by the fuel the electrons put in their car. For a long time, investigators have been aware that electrons reach anode acres much faster than we would expect, even accounting for their drifting tactics to evade the magnetic field police. We traditionally attributed this to us misunderstanding the momentum, and that we are not quite sure what type of cars these electrons drive. Recently, however, members of the investigative team here at PEPL have started to directly measure the electron properties using lasers for a set configuration of HallThrusterton. This has illuminated two important facts. First is that we can directly measure the electron momentum, which has revealed that the electrons are in fact driving. What is perhaps more interesting, however, is that these measurements have also uncovered that the electrons have more energy than we thought, with their average energy being about twice what our models expect. This indicates that we also need to look into what fuel these electrons are putting in their cars, which they appear to be getting from. My work here at PEPL focuses around adapting our models to correctly predict how energetic the electrons are. Essentially, I run our models assuming different types of the quote-unquote gas the electrons are using and compare the model results to that of the laser measurements. While electrons in different towns might drive different cars, we have good reason to believe that the electrons are getting their fuel from the same supplier. Therefore, by finding the fuel that provides the best match to the data, we can nail down the electron energy transport and move on to the critical investigative step of figuring out how to predict what cars the electrons are using in different configurations of HallThrusterton. With these leads into our investigation, we're optimistic that we will be able to nail down exactly how these electrons are transporting themselves, allowing us to close the case of what is going on in HallThrusterton. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out our other videos.